Is all Latino LGBTQ plus the same? South Florida Cuban Americans and other Latino American communities explored. South Florida is one of the rare areas of the U.S. that is known as a majority-minority population, meaning that people of minority descent outnumber white people. The Latin community here in South Florida is one of the largest demographics. As you can see around this table tonight, so many members of the community have diverse backgrounds and histories. What parts of our unique communities are the same? What parts are different? This evening, our anchors explore this conversation.
Just a small question.
Where to begin, Venezuela?
I mean, you know, and this is good that we are all sitting around the table now because we come from different backgrounds within. For America, for the common America, for the, you know, America at large, say, outside Florida, that tends to look at us like we are all like the same thing and they caught us by the same.
Not
we are
same.
not. We're very different. And it comes to sometimes to clash, even within our community. In communities, even like South Florida, which even within Florida is very different. As you know, I mean, growing up Cuban here with a more of a tradition here that probably the Venezuelan community where I'm from, you know, or Colombians or Mexicans or Brazilians, we come with different issues here. There are so many issues that, you know, that play into our community. Colorism is one of them.
Yeah, of course.
So the same as, you know, the Indians deal with in India, you know, the darker you are, the less, you know, and we don't like to talk about this, but we
Within
need
the
to talk up within our community, you know, like this kind of thing that, you know, many people use. That kind of racism within our community, we have to air our own dirty clothes. So this is one of the things that we have to deal with. And it gets, because like what I said before, when you come to this country, you have to check a box. In Latin America, you don't have to do that. We're all Latinos. Yes, there is racism in Latin America. I will be a fool if I don't acknowledge that. But when it comes here is when you really get smashed in the face with that and within our own community. So
because they don't realize the moment you leave Florida, like we're on our own, and we fight amongst our own communities. Because let me tell you something, I'm first generation born here. My parents are Cuban. My great grandparents are from Spain. Migrated to Cuba, migrated to Miami, and they still act like they own this place. And they don't realize the moment they leave South Florida, no one likes you. So it's interesting that there is clash between Venezuelans, between Mexicans, when the reality is that we should stick together because the rest of this country is not looking at us like we belong.
Exactly.
This whole, so I'm also Cuban, you know, Cuban descent, born in Miami in that way too. And I feel like I had never been called a spick until I left Miami. Like that is like, I had never even heard that word until I had left this, you know, this space, this South Florida space. The idea of specifically in this, what does minority majority or majority minority mean in South Florida? That is, it could actually change the tables a lot. Because I mean, what does that mean to whether it's the urban power that Cuban Americans have historically had in the space for decades, or for incoming, you know, the different treatment between Haitians and Cubans in our immigration system, so on and so forth. It does change what it means to be able to access certain resources, and of course we're going to have 1,000 different experiences. We're not a monolith.
It's also really weird because they're in some areas, like I'm white passing, and in some areas I'm not. So it's like very constant of like, where do I go? Because I'm not hood enough for my friends, for my black friends. And I also don't understand the level of entitlement from my white friends. So it's like, where do I fit in? But I've still been like walking down the halls in like my middle school and they're like, yo, you got some weed? I'm like,
you know what?
I literally been told to go back to Mexico. I'm not even Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. So it's like, it's that weird aspect of it's like, where do I really fit in? And when you're not like putting it out there that you're Hispanic, you still like identify those other Hispanic people. And it's just, it's freeing, but also really confusing and trapping at the same time.
I'd like to piggyback off of your comment of trying to figure out where you actually fit in this Latino unit, Latinx unit. I don't know. I will say this: my parents are Puerto Rican, born and raised in Puerto Rico. I was born in the United States. I was raised in the Northeast. I was called a spick in the Northeast. Okay, but here's the crack up: I was raised around every different kind of Latino. So I knew people from El Salvador, people from Colombia, people from Dominican Republic, Cubans. We were all raised together. So growing up around that community was kind of like, oh, cool, we're all Latin, we're all Spanish. It's all the same. Okay, great, fantastic. Then I moved to South Florida, where I came down and said, oh, you are Puerto Rican? No, we're Colombian. We don't hang out with you. And then I actually, and it was very, it was very weird.
Very
because,
segregated.
Because I didn't, I never understood what that was. That made no sense to me. It was very confusing. And then to add an extra bit of fun to this little story, when I travel to Puerto Rico and visit my family, I get out of the airport, I grab a cab, and I'll tell the cab, hey, this is where I want to go. Are you Puerto Rican? Well, yes, I am. And he's like, well, no, you're not Puerto Rican because you're not from here. You're a New York Rican. Does that make you less Rican? I'm trying to understand my percentage of Rican.
At least I'm Rican, period.
Yeah. He's like, but you don't speak the way we speak. And I said, because the difference is that I actually have an education.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's the only way I could combat against my own people being, against me.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it here, specifically in South Florida, is the way we got here. Because of mass exodus from Cuba and the caravan and all these types of different ways that we got here. There's a lot of judgment and self-empowerment where some Latinos think they deserve to be here and they feel like others don't.
Yes.
There's another thing within that phenomenon that catches my attention, and there is a lot of us that come from countries. I mean, we are really a melting pot in Latin America. There is the whitest to the darkest and everything in between, right? We come from that. But a lot of us come here from countries, and you may be the whitest in Latin America, but when you come here, they place you because, like I said, they put you in a box. Right. You are Latino, but then some of those whitest people in Latin America come to America and then find a common denominator with the white supremacy and then start voting, with the Republican and the extreme right. They find more commonality with them that with their own Latino community. I have an issue with that.
That's weird.
So because they feel like they're going to have their rights taken away.
That's right.
Right? Even though we're all the same, or we all have the same kind of history, and the reasoning as to why we left our country of origin. Some were here first, and now we're going to have less resources for those who are already here.
I played
you put it together eloquently, by the way.
That was really
wow,
well
me eloquent?
That was very well said.
Thank you.
I played on a sports team a few years ago, and one of our teammates used to call me and a bunch of, not me specifically, but a group of us who were all the Latinos used to call us the Mexicans. And it was, and none of us were from Mexico, right? There was someone from Nicaragua.
They do that though.
And and we kind of all spoke, and we were like, because we focus so heavily on what divides us, but also what brings, we do have lots of commonalities, and some of it is language and culture, and of course there's other languages that make people Latino, that is indigenous languages and Latin.
Sure.
But there are things that generally do bring a lot of us together, and those are things that are powerful and part of what makes us. Now I'm looking at my hand here.
I'm still
we should all focus on we're the same kind of suppression or oppression that we're all feeling, and we should stick together and fight against that, and maybe we can make more things happen.
Maybe, I may not understand certain things you say in that Spanish because it's from a different area.
Yeah.
But we still get the point.
We got it.
We still get the point,
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+ community.